So there's one other sort of general and broad representation that I wanted to spend a little time with you on, and that is a representation often referred colloquially as a 10b-5 rep. 10b-5 is a securities rule actually adopted by the courts that says that you can't, in connection with the purchase and sale of securities, you can't make an untrue statement of material fact or omit a material fact necessary in light of the circumstances in which it was made, so that the representations are misleading. And if we have a purchase and sale of stock, that concept is already built in because that notion applies to any purchase and sale of securities. But parties often will try and tuck a representation using that exact same wording into their agreements. And that's because 10b-5 requires that a plaintiff prove reliance on the misstatement or omission. But if you have the words in the document, you don't have to prove reliance, you only have to prove damage. And so we'll often try and tuck it in there. And of course, in an asset transaction, the securities laws don't apply necessarily. And so you might want to have this kind of a representation to bring this concept forward. And what's really going on here is that, again, the buyer is looking to build protection, broad protection for things they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they haven't asked for. And they're basically saying to the seller, like you might say at the end of an interview or something, hey, was there anything I forgot to ask you that I need to know about? And the seller then has to come back and say, oh yeah, there's this one little secret thing that you hadn't asked about and I was hoping to get by you. And now they've got to come forward if you've got this kind of a representation and disclose that thing, whatever it might be. And the seller, of course, is going to push back on this. The seller may say, look, it's a securities transaction anyway. You already have this protection, and try and get out of it that way. The seller might say, you've already asked me 60 pages of representations. Are you kidding me that you've forgotten to ask me something? And it's not fair to hang this thing out there and put sort of random unknown liabilities that I don't know about around my neck after the deal is closed. So you can see this area of tension between buyers and sellers for this representation as well. I will tell you, we see this representation show up in transactions maybe 25 or 30% of the time. So it is a very viable concept, and you often do see negotiation around this in these deals.